Everybody. Nice to see everyone around the table again. Today is Thursday, January 29th, 2026, and this is a meeting of the Senior Center Building Committee. This meeting will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting or hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID 375-414-6055 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager, at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 100 prior to the meeting. So welcome, everyone. I call us to order at 4:31 p.m. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda or any amendments?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right. And since we are split today, we need to do a roll call. Ken?
Yes.
Linda?
Yeah.
Dave?
Aye.
Bonnie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Dan? Ellen? She said aye, and the chair says aye. All right. Thank you
She's
for
muted.
She is muted, but I saw her mouth move. She said aye. Okay. Aye. All right. So the next item is the approval of minutes. Dennis let me know he does not have those, so we will just table that for now and then pop back up with those at our next meeting. All right, so that brings us to utilities and permitting updates. Dan, you want to provide an update?
Sure, Madam Chair, thanks. And thank you for letting me go first because I do have to jump to capital after this meeting. So the first bullet here, presentation of National Grid estimate, you'll see that in your packet. We've worked with Grid, they've put together this service agreement for the connection of the electric, and that would connect south of the site at the existing power line system that cuts through the DPW property. As part of that, we will have to do clearing and making an access road, but they will install overhead electric throughout that and then drop down at the site to a transformer. So the
Would they go overhead all the way to transformer? Sections
the last like 50 feet is underground. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what the service agreement is for. The amount is $101,937.88. So that would be Grid's portion of the work. The customer, we do have to install the transformer pad, riser and bollards. But they install the actual transformer and the remaining electric. And so I think we initially were around like $500,000 for electric. And so, the cost of this is about $100,000. And then when you factor in site work for the access road, that's probably another 150 to 200 maybe. That's conservative. So we're going to come in, 250 to 300K, I'd anticipate, which is better than we expected. And so in short, this proposal, I recommend the committee move forward and authorize the proposal to be executed and move forward with National Grid.
Madam Chair, if I could, Dan, if I could ask, how would the bollards and putting down the concrete for it's a precast problem. But how would we arrange for that to be happening?
So we already.
The base bid. It's in the base bid.
It's in the basement.
Yeah.
It's in our electric site.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty
It's all
standard.
included.
That's usually
So
what,
our site contractor would submit on a transformer pad.
Yeah.
That would be reviewed by John, but we would also send it over to the utility as a courtesy, even though they're probably providing the actual transformer.
They're gonna give a plan for it too. There's certain holes that have to be.
So
yeah.
So the electrical work that National Grid is engaging in was not considered part of the base bid. And that's
No.
coming in at about 101.
Yeah, it's done separate.
Yeah, it's offsite utility, yeah.
Right. But as part of the base bid, the other electrical work, so we were looking at round numbers, K or so for the electrical. Separate from the base bid. It's coming in at 100, maybe.
No, another 150 from us.
Yeah, so say 250 to 300, just carry for now,
Yeah.
because we have to do some site work, they make the connection.
Separate line up for $30, we carry.
We're all in.
We carry utility costs from offsite work of million in our budget. So-
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll find out the water and the Comcast project, that's one project, it's out to bid now, and we open those on February 4th, so we'll find out that price next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just two questions. That includes the transformer itself as well, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, they come and install that, drop it on the pad. The other question being,
It's in that.
Yeah, it's all rated.
so the $1 million that we were carrying, yeah, I saw that just the putting that on furniture and so on. The utilities that we were covering in that $1 million was inclusive of water, power, and Comcast. And am I missing anything there? The fiber is still out there, whether or not that may need to be pulled if we have a spare conduit that's in that
Mhm.
that duct bank. But I'll keep it as it sits now until
Yeah.
we get things a little firmed up.
Yeah, keep it in, like after that February 4th bid, we'll have start plugging some numbers in. Yeah.
Here it comes. So thank you very much, Dan. So it's interesting that this is 50 to 90 days and almost there. It's September 21st. Under the right.
Yeah, so I wanted to do some due diligence, so I did reach out to the electrical engineer to make sure they were good with this.
Okay.
And making sure that, and the other issue I had was, potentially some permitting. I thought they located a design near wetlands, which we can avoid. So that's why it took a little time, make sure everything was all right before we sign off.
So we are able to avoid that? Okay.
So this is a really good piece of work because meantime, they also said they'll get the work done in like 180 days from the time. So this is the first time National Grid might be ahead of schedule.
I know.
Never heard of it.
Yeah,
So because
yeah.
I'm saying the thing.
Usually they're about a year out.
So it's really just, the thing I was looking at, one of the things I looked at because I was concerned with the easement. I was happy to see under the grant of easement that it says set by separate easement prepared by National Grid. I was hoping we would not have to engineer and pay for the easement, civil engineering work. So it looks like they carry it in their price, which is good.
Hmm.
Because I was concerned we would have a separate civil cost for that civil engineering cost. And in fact, there are easements, as Dan knows, there's easements in place right now on the DPW property. And I was hopeful that they would just do this as an amendment to the easements they have. So anyway, they're carrying. it. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
And what is do we know what the town's process is for the granting of those
You just put
easements?
it on the town meeting in the fall. If our voters will vote for.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be approved by any town committee or does it? We don't-
No, it will go, yeah, so that, an easement gets approved by town meeting. Yeah, there's nothing else. Yeah.
You'll take it to the board, so step in the process.
Yes, and we may have to enter into a license agreement to allow Grid to install before the easement's in place, which we've done. That's what we just did recently. There was 3 easements on fall town meeting. Yeah.
This is really.
My last question would just be this price, if it's 6 to 8 weeks before construction begins, we can get this in early. Is there a scenario though where they would have to remobilize to do that final connection between last pole transformer? As they're not going to know exactly where that location's going to be.
Yeah, and that's, I think, something we gotta figure out, because I did reach out to them about
Okay.
coordination, because obviously you got the project, the building project, you've got the project for us, separate project, create the access road out to the power lines and them. So there's gotta be a coordination step there, and when do they come in? And they probably shouldn't come in until they're, so we've got that road in and we're getting close with the building and the transformer
I
pad.
expect the pole would be off our site. If they're gonna approach us on the ground,
Yeah,
and they will do excavation for that.
No, I think we're about.
I think we,
it's not-
Yeah.
Well, they're feeding Yeah, well, my electrical engineer may already have it.
He's got like 1,000 feet on the stuff by the state, we can get to a shoot.
Yeah, we do some of it, install 49 inches of
Well, yeah,
conduit riser.
yeah, I think she not, at this level, she had no idea what
Yeah,
it
right.
was, so. Yeah,
I would, retracting to the civil, we may actually have to do civil to lay it out for that road.
Yeah,
We're gonna probably have to hire some
well, I,
stake the road for granted.
we can do, DPW can
Maybe we can
do,
do it.
yeah, we can do it. Yeah, it's not a big.
Not there, no.
That's not a,
There's where you.
it's not like a, it's not a complicated.
You don't want to use my.
We'll get something together and get it, yeah.
That one,
You know,
$50, that's black.
You make a motion?
Yeah, yeah, I did an estimate for, I did an estimate, yeah, I did, it was like 150. So I'd say 150 to 2, to be safe.
Yep.
And that was already with contingencies and stuff like that.
Okay. So do we need a vote to approve you to move
Yeah,
forward with
I
this?
vote to approve the service agreement with National Grid as presented.
I make a motion that, senior center building committee approve electrical service provider proposal 310-36-323 as presented by town administrator.
Okay. Any other questions before? All right, Ken?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Hi,
Ellen?
Aye. Chair says aye. All right, great.
all right.
Wonderful.
Next, Emily. Let me find it.
Oh, wait.
Goddard's.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Just with, my last comment would be if there's any financial payments that need to be done between this, to let us know so we can include them in our packet so that we can track the budget accordingly.
Yeah,
Now that we've approved the agreement, payments are sometimes staggered with what they need to put up front, so.
yeah, yeah, I'll connect with you.
Okay.
Yeah. You need that. Okay, the next item, presentation of environmental permitting consultant contract. So you would have seen a contract in the packet for Goddard, and these are additional tasks from what they've already done. So task 4, rare species mitigation concept. This is involving natural heritage. About in early January, we met with Natural Heritage and Dan Arts and the civil engineer as well for the project we're on. And basically what came out of that sort of pre-submission meeting was to put together a concept plan of all the areas we're going to impact, and then also where a potential conservation management area would be. So it's kind of the 2-to-1 offset. And so Goddard is going to work with me and put that together. They were going to come out on site. I've got them to start working even without a contract, but they're going to come out on site tomorrow, but it's going to be wicked cold, so we're going to push it to next week. So that would be next step with Natural Heritage, get that concept plan in, and then they can respond to us from there, and we can put together the NISA checklist submission and move along with them. And another task is number 5. So Ken and I previously did coordination with MEPA to understand the permitting requirements with that agency. There is one item here where kind of the overall project Natural Heritage has, identified part of the water and Comcast are part of the overall project.
Mhm.
And so what they've indicated is they're willing to ignore that part of the project if MEPA gives us what's called a phase 1 waiver for it, because we're already moving forward with it, doing it separately. So
Wave the water one.
yeah, so then the rest of the project is, the building itself and the electric line going out to the power lines would be included as part of the MEPA and the Natural Heritage. So Goddard will coordinate that MEPA meeting. I'll be with them. We'll sit down on it, ask for that waiver, and then determine. I think we already know that we need to do an EENF and an EIR with that combination submittal. But we'll just get some further input from MEPA to confirm that as we show them the project. So 4 and 5, those are pretty clear tasks. Those are next steps. But then it's task 6, 7, and 8. not as clear, especially task 6 and 8. I had Goddard put this in here anyways. These are the MIPA submittals and he doesn't know exactly what we need to do. So these are not ready for approval yet. Even you can see task 8, he just has a to be determined cost. And task 7 is the conservation management permit. That's probably pretty good. As we know, we're gonna have to do that with natural heritage, but not quite ready for approval. So right now, I recommend we moving forward with tasks 4 and 5, approving those. And Goddard, like I said, has already started working on those with me anyways. And then I would also recommend, I guess this is the third bullet, it'd be good to do a pre-approval of these tasks 6, 7, and 8. But maybe with a a caveat that it's gonna be negotiated by the DPW director or by the work group, what the final cost is for those tasks. And that's in short, what's going on with the natural heritage MIPA contract with Goddard.
And what is EIR again?
Environmental impact
Okay.
report.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the big cost.
So I was gonna recommend that we include 6, and you're recommending we do as well, right? The EENF. Because what I'm concerned, I think I'm gonna state it now. The whole project depends upon, to me, everything else we've done. We're all covered. Utilities covered, we've done everything else covered. But we don't know what their response is gonna be, so we don't have any time to lose on that. So what I'm trying to say is, I think we need to approve it, and then as soon as Dan needs to get them started, he's authorized, he's not to come back to us for another approval. That's my concern.
Yeah. I mean, I think the EENF that he has an SEIR,
He's got to.
those in here, those are kind of, those go one and the same when they start working on those tasks. And the CMP will be the next step of the natural heritage. So I think you're right. I think approving all of them, but really task 6, 7, and 8, once we have that MIPA coordination meeting, that could change a little, the price and the scope, especially task 8. So I think approve task 4 and 5 as they are in here, and then approve task 6, 7, and 8 as negotiated by the work group or DPW director. I think because we're meeting monthly, we don't want to get held up on these tasks.
And at the select board meeting a couple of weeks ago, I think I heard that in order for the grant,
That's the difference.
but they were gonna,
Different topic.
Different.
no, but didn't all of this need to be done? They
No,
were
but
unclear.
It was
No.
incorrect.
It was incorrect.
It was incorrect.
Okay.
That's been worked out. We can come back to that in the grant discussion, but
Okay.
my understanding is that was incorrect.
Yeah, and I have a question. So for number 8, where did that estimate come from? 10,000 to 30,000? Goddard.
It's Goddard. They've
It's Goddard.
done these
Okay.
before, and I don't know the exact scope. By the MIPA coordination meeting, he'll get more information from them if there's on how significant the scope is
Okay.
that they want.
Yeah,
So that's why he just put in a placeholder essentially for now.
because I know if it includes like wetland, all that mitigation, all that stuff, it can run like way above like $100,000. So, yeah, I'm just kind of curious, like that seems low, that seems like very recent.
Yeah, and we talked to Ty and Bond previously too, and they were saying 30 to 40 grand. So when you do this whole thing together, it's pretty similar pricing.
Yeah,
But I'll obviously try to do it, keep it as simple as we can. And we know, there's more turtles out there than there are people in that EJ area.
There are no people.
Right. So anyways, really, that's what's triggering, right? The environmental justice region that overlaps the area. It's triggering this EIR. Otherwise,
Meeting.
you may know, right, to get rid of that fence.
So from a budgeting perspective, with these tasks through task 8, we are hopeful that our MIPA, MISA, everything would be cleared at that point.
Yes, yeah. So if you want to conservatively just take the highest rate.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yep.
Yeah, for now.
Okay. Any other questions? Or I believe the suggestion was a motion to approve task 4 and 5 as they are, with a pre-approval of 6, 7, and 8 to be negotiated, the price to be negotiated by the working group.
Do you want two separate motions now? One for 4 and 5, and then the second motion for 6 or 8?
Everyone good?
I like that idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
2 separate ones. Okay. So
I move that we approve the tasks 4 and 5 as outlined in the Goddard Consulting memo of January 6th, 2025 as submitted.
Second,
all right. Ken, how do you vote?
aye.
Linda? Aye. Dave?
Aye.
Aye. Dennis?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Ellen?
Aye.
Chair says aye. All right, wonderful. All right. We have a motion for 6, 7, and 8.
So what would be the subject to in 6, 7, 8? Subject to,
Final negotiation, the work of our group, with the DPW director. Coordination of,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to one.
okay, there.
I had a motion that the senior center building committee approve items 6, 7, and 8 on the January 6, 2025 Goddard Consulting proposal. Based on final approval and determination of the starting date was worked out between the working group and the DPW director in Goddard.
Second,
Okay. All right, Ken? How do you vote?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to rush it.
No,
Was
I
there
was
more
wondering,
discussion?
but
One to have
Negotiating
discussion.
for final cost.
Have discussion.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
did you want to include negotiating for final costs in that, or is that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he said,
Yes. Starting date and approved final clause. Negotiating final clause.
Yeah.
You have to work, yeah.
I,
So that's amendment.
Yeah.
But before everyone else votes, I just want to say this again. To me, this is the most critical thing that the accomplishment of this is. The whole project is based on this. If we don't get this going, we'll be way ahead with everything else. That's something. Because of the time
Right.
it takes to do this.
right, yeah, we won't be able to move forward without that, yeah. Okay,
You want me to start over on the motion? And so the other one? How do we go?
well, it was approving 6, 7, and 8 based on the final approval of the cost and the start date to be negotiated by the working group DPW and Goddard. Okay, so that was a aye.
I,
Aye.
I,
aye.
Aye.
Ellen?
Aye.
Chair says aye. All right, wonderful.
All right, keep it moving.
Great. Okay. I think that was everything for the utilities and permitting. That gives you exactly 6 minutes to get over
Yeah,
the capital
thanks.
planning.
All right.
Get out of here.
You too.
And bid results once received.
Yes, I can send them unofficial too right
The
away.
reason why I was calling you is that we have a very large cost in our civil cost estimate for spoils on this, all the moving a lot of dirt. Can we pile it up next door on your property?
Yeah, let's coordinate. I started putting together a
Yeah.
review comments letter and that was
Yeah,
one of them.
I have that on
we
my
could
list, so
we
I
could-
wrote it back saying,
Try to take care of it for the town.
revise the cost based on just moving it adjacent, but it may go farther, but maybe you want to.
Yeah, somewhere on site, I'm sure we
Yeah.
can. move it.
Yeah, it could be there and then you can decide what to do with it later. There's a lot of loam,
Yeah,
there's a lot of brush and junk, that's.
All right.
So if we just
Yeah.
bulldoze it over.
yeah, I would.
Without
just
killing
have-
turtles or something.
I would anticipate the town will keep it on site. And find
Yeah,
some sort of-
you have a lot of land there.
Yeah.
That would make a big difference, because he's got it being trucked.
Right,
our way.
no, we don't need,
I don't want to spend that.
yeah, save us money,
It's a fair
yeah,
amount of money. All right, thank you.
agreed,
That's why I was calling.
yeah,
So, Ron,
all right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dan.
Dan.
Welcome, thanks.
yeah, it's very helpful.
All right. That brings us to you, John, for,
Yeah, there it is.
yeah.
That is well beyond design development, but still tons of coordination. I've been reviewing most of the day today. My set has got a lot of red on. But it has everything from door schedule to lighting to, and the structural engineer is basically done. I mean, he's 90%. And his drawings are in there, it's modeled in there. I brought a set so that anybody who wishes to kind of pay. I think we try and do it here will be till midnight. There's about, there's probably 60 pages, 70 pages. But there's a couple of important things. Ken brought up an important issue. My engineer is working on really pushing his civil much farther along with calculations for water and other issues on site. And he's going to have that information to us. He hopes midweek this week. Working on it.
I just, so I was going on, tell the community what motivated that, so. In John's sequence, it goes from schematic to design development to construction drawings. But we have to step to the planning board. And to get to the planning board, we need a full set of the civil, which means we have to think about giving the civil before construction documents are done. So that's at least about, we were talking about that process being at least 2 months. Put the set in, goes through the town departments, which takes at least 2 weeks. Meeting goes through being released first, then town departments, 2 weeks. Then you get a scheduled meeting, which is probably another week and a half away. Most likely 3 meetings for site plans. That would be quick process. That's another 6 weeks. Or at least 2 months. So that's why I brought up that we can authorize Ron and John Brooks because the civil engineer get that piece done before we finish the construction drawings. That's an asset.
I told my engineer just to,
Thank you.
and he will. We're used to having my civil knows that he has to be in front of planning board way early because there's a lot of adjustments that occur. One of the things I wanted to bring up, and Dan's now gone, but the curbing, we're debating whether it's slope granite or beveled granite. I like the idea of beveled granite because it doesn't move. It doesn't move very good. It doesn't get moved by because it's sloped granite is a surface set in some concrete, but after a few years, plow hooks one, it ends up somewhere else. If we can bevel it more aggressively, so it's a regular set in concrete down 20 inches, there's 60 openings, 14 less. But the idea is that we'd ask them to bevel it steeper than we want them to. So the turtle can fall over, and we would get one made up so that the dance work with Goddard would be verified and approved.
Can we get the turtles to pre-approve?
Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna bring a turtle over. I got a big one.
So I don't know if you guys heard about this before, the fact that typically they do not write vertical granite for turtles. They go for spread out speed. So you're talking about something like. So the drawings do show.
We have bevel granite.
What's the cost difference?
It's just like,
Oh, no, it's a bevel. I just looked at it.
Lots of difference between.
Yeah, vertical's more expensive,
way more.
Which is?
but it lasts a lot. We want some vertical granite.
Yes.
No, I'm not thinking about that. I was looking.
I know.
I was looking at the plumbing plan. Just looking at looking for kitchen, that's what I was looking.
Yeah, our details. Yeah, it is more expensive, but it's a good investment.
If you're a turtle.
So anyway, we have to,
Yeah, if you're a turtle.
we have to work on that.
Yeah, but we have a long ways to go. I just wanted to bring it up that we're looking at both options. And we can probably even price it both ways. It's not a big deal.
Is Dan out on the call?
You were
Yes.
supposed to be on.
We found it.
We just asked for
He's hiding over there.
Dan out's.
Yeah.
In the first of those days.
There are, it's on civil.
Yeah, I got it right.
It looks way old.
Oh.
So that's why we have.
Just a-
Just do that in every couple of years, we don't. Yeah, but we're.
John, just a practical question. So who did the new Forma link go to see this online? Because I think,
Dan did it.
okay, so Dan, who did it go to? Just, I'm trying to think of like, the plans here are sitting in front of Dave and he's having a great time looking through it. But I think each of the committee members would like to have the opportunity to look through this. What's the best way to?
We can take care of it too. So new form, I think only people that were considered editors or who have been signed up in that
Right.
project was distributed to.
Okay,
We have it downloaded onto our server and shoot a link either. Well, so it's
that would be
easy,
fantastic. Uh-oh,
just to the entire
Is
committee.
Dan there?
hang on.
I haven't heard of
We just
Blue
lost him, but, I also just lost the owl. Can you jostle the owl?
Yeah, it would let us, it would take you right to that. The repository.
Right here. So all you're looking at is that. They cut that with a standard. Yeah.
So, and what's the square footage in this
13,000.
even?
Eighty-five.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably 85.
Oh, hang on, let me go back to the grid.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay, so.
No,
Let's figure about it. Okay.
Sorry, we lost you, Dan. Now you're back.
No, I was having trouble unmuting, so I had to leave and then come back.
Gotcha. Okay. Welcome back.
So I think I kind of cut out there. So we were talking about moving the files, the PDF, so the other committee members can see it.
Yeah.
I can email. I can send an email out to everybody else that will have that link. It will send them a direct file.
Okay, thank you. And of course, you guys are all welcome to drop by when we're here during regular hours and pour through the drawings if you want to see them larger.
So.
Still early in the month.
So the last go round before town meeting, we were at some, or I want to say 13.8, 13.7. From what rooms or where were the 750, 800 square feet taken?
Not very much. It's like pulling the whole wall in a foot. We didn't really do it that way. Not significant, because you won't really notice it. Out of 13,700 square foot building, you take out 700 square feet. It's not noticeable. It's probably not noticeable financially either, but it's best that we got it down in that. Actually, that's what we do. Someone, Dan Fadden. Yeah. I hope he's not listening to my comment. Oh, I thought they were gonna throw it on top of my car, because I parked right next to the pile. Yeah, I can move it.
I couldn't get attention. I didn't want to get too close. Don't want to become Flat Stanley.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Good reference.
So, what you're welcome to do is page through it. It's again, this is a work in progress and you'll discover that there are things that don't make a lot of sense, other things that do.
I think everything makes sense.
Oh, thank you, Ken. I agree with you.
Well, you can't make sense. You have to make nickels now.
Yeah, no,
They don't make sense anymore.
It's SENC.
So, and I would say that we're probably 35%, and maybe a little bit farther into CDs. Like some of my subs are way ahead. This structural engineer,
Nice.
he's got a model there and he's done very similar work with us. So he's very confident that he's probably, I think he says he's 90% CD.
But that said, with structural, with the spec and almost a statement of inspections that would come from the structural engineer.
Yeah.
Whenever that's ready, we like to get a head start on queuing up a testing agent for the construction. So we
Yeah.
send out a separate RFP. We'll present it to the committee about who we're recommending on here. So whenever he has those documents, it helps us form to get apples to apples. price.
Absolutely. Yeah, in fact, I think his specs are supposed to roll in this coming week.
Good, okay.
In fact, my main specs, the draft is all done by the spec writer. But we have to integrate, we just got our electrical spec. And the structural spec is on the drawings, but I want it in the set too. And and our, and I think you'll see it in the set. You take a look at
I was,
it. Yeah.
well, excuse me,
Yeah, go ahead.
before we read the structure, it'd be fun for the community, just look at the structure.
Sure.
Now, could you obviously that, that's.
Thank you. Yeah, we give him the model and then he models it off the wires. So if you go to, tell him to stop reading, move on. So,
I'm
see what page it's on.
well, I'm trying to find there is, so he wants to do the structural, so.
He's trying to.
So the structural,
Yeah,
here's your pages of notes.
yeah, what the next over you?
Page 4 is probably.
There's a diagram.
Yeah, it's pretty nice stuff right here. So it's giving you the real fun stuff when we see this one up.
Yeah. We had a problem on our previous job. He managed to slip a beam into a slightly wrong spot, even though we showed him where it was supposed to go. And it was 6 inches below the header of the windows in the multi-purpose room. We resolved this.
Is that what you boxed out?
Yes,
Sure.
you saw that. What the hell's going on? We boxed it up. There's a shade in there. Yeah.
He put it, made a spot, he put the top of the shade.
He put it about 8 inches.
That will be-
And by the way, he could have put it up. He just, I don't know what.
So the,
We're not in that building really. Somehow they managed to put a beam right through the middle of a cupola.
Oh, that's fun.
so you
Okay.
mentioned that the electrical
Regional,
specs
regional, everything.
are almost done or are gonna be.
We got it.
You got it.
Something
Yeah.
missed it.
And that doesn't include, we've talked about it on occasion, the data, the telecommunications, the,
No, it
But those-
acknowledges it and locates a lot of that. But we want to see the cable run by a separate contractor from the GC, because what happens, I don't know what your experience is, but if there's a problem with it, everybody. does
Right,
this.
so
We
the,
want one person responsible for it.
yeah, so
But
I'm
we
just,
show where the locations are.
yeah, so I'm just, and this is something that Katie and I have talked about and that the town is aware of, that we're gonna need to know. There ought to be some level of of coordination between the electric.
Oh, absolutely. We'll give
And how will that be managed and adhered to so that, oops, we don't have the router
They
in the
will
right
receive a
place
set
of
of hard
Wi-Fi.
lines and they'll mark it up. They want some other location, like relocated monitors,
Mhm.
and they're mounted not down on the floor, but up here. The one thing we've run into is we often look for now because of Wi-Fi, we really don't locate plugins. We can. That generally is done through Wi-Fi. And
Or
hopefully-
hardwiring the speakers, something
Well-
you want to do.
We have the hearing loop in this. And the hearing loop feeds off of a PA system that in the multi-purpose room. We generally don't recommend it throughout the building because of people start shouting over the PA all over the place.
Ah,
People really.
yeah.
For elders, it's a little disruptive.
In construction as well, there's a requirement for coordination.
That's not a
By the
coordination.
general contractor, so all of the main trades will get the Revit, AutoCAD files. They actually put them into the model. We run clash detection on that. That will generate either RFIs to try to get ahead of it so that the structural steel isn't coming without any penetrations through it. We make sure we have chases in the right location for runs for HVAC and electrical.
Brian's absolutely right. And what we do is we have a full meeting between all the subs in general and the OPM and the architect. And they work with, we have a Revit model that they work with. And they put most of their stuff is in the Revit. A lot of our engineers.
So I don't think this question was more.
It's a three-dimensional model. Some of our subcontractors don't use Revit. We put their stuff in it.
I think if I'm hearing you right, your question was more about how do you make sure that the subs get the things in the right location based on what the town wants, since the town's in charge of speccing that out. So to briefly address that, John, the new IT director, has seen now, I think, both sets of these plans. And then we'll have to meet again with public safety and with facilities to talk about we had one initial conversation, but to start again, talking about to make sure if they want, what kind of cameras they want, if electrical needs to be there or if it's,
You'd like to invite
Power.
us for that movie with us,
yes.
either Dan or myself with
Yeah.
the drawings. And what we'll do, in the end, it's fairly simple.
Not from the stories I've heard.
Well, I don't know who you've been talking to, but it's pretty simple because they'll all be on the drawings. They will mark, and the only reason why it's not simple is they didn't put something there that they wanted that they didn't tell us about. So that's why we meet together.
Okay.
And that's not a problem.
Just to follow up from John said, they actually can't price them. The
Without
vendor
that.
that's gonna do it has to have a really nice drawing with all these specifications on it as well. In order to get a fixed price for the project, so. It can't be loose, it has to be defined by the project, subcontractor as well.
If Brian and Matt will tell you, public bid, you only own what's on the drawings and the specs. If it's not there, they don't own it. And it is there, they do own it. And the specifications are very, very important because help quantify and qualify. That may not be shown on the drawings, but it's called for in the specification.
That actually brings up a really good question. When the town subcontracts out of that work separately from the GC, doesn't have to be available. Those subcontractors.
Yep. There are some workarounds in certain things, such as moving services, installation of certain furniture, whether it's not fixed to the structure of the building, you can kind of circumvent prevailing wage laws, but anybody else that.
So the security company, so that's good.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to-
play footsie.
I have a cramp in my legs, I'm trying to straighten it out.
I'm stretching.
But yes. The one thing
Yeah,
I wanted
good
to
point.
add with your MEP consultant or engineer, one thing that we'll definitely want to look at and make sure that they're confident with is their paragraph E, which is dictating in the spec about electrical or HVAC subcontractors and their subcontractors. In the market that we're in right now, which is great for Ayer, that contractors are hungry and you're going to get a lot of interest on this job. That also opens the door to a lot of protests and a lot of bid challenges after the bids are received. And that is the linchpin that we're seeing so many protests on because they're not listing that.
Coordination between.
For example, an electrician would need to list out any of their low voltage work, any of their something that's not going to be handled by their own labor force that's typically run by what they call a sub.
So,
And so
So it could be, HVAC control.
Yep.
Sub.
100%.
yeah,
Yeah, for public safety, it would be the vehicle exhaust that we do in apparatus space. That's usually done by another vendor. Because what's gonna happen is that low bid's gonna come in and the next 2 or 3 bidders are scouring through their bid to see if there's any red flags that they can protest on it. So I just wanna make sure we're tight as possible going in. I'm not saying we're not gonna be out of the woods totally because we're seeing it everywhere. at this point.
Yeah,
So.
I think more so today, we've been very fortunate in our business that we have not had any protests, but we've had low bidders drop out. When they look at other bids and say, wait, what did we do wrong? And even though they post a bond is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
You'd rather have drop out that fail on the project.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
We're seeing protests on a litany of different things.
Yeah.
An obvious clerical error that is obvious to anybody
Yeah.
is still being protested and being run through by the Attorney General's office. So, which can slow
Yeah.
things down for weeks.
yep. And by the way, Brian, I appreciate you and Matt, when we get the final specs, to make sure that you look at those loopholes, because I think you see more of that than we do.
Yep.
And it would be very important.
help, especially with electrical, I have some experience with big protests on paragraph E.
Yeah. I have no idea what paragraph E is. I'll look it up.
That's the name of it.
So, yeah.
Yep. Security.
Yeah, just the last comment on that, just to show the level of interest that we're just pre-qualifying currently right now for Princeton Public Safety, roughly around the same construction size. 140 statements of qualification came in.
Wow.
Across all of our divisions with 19 general contractors, which is unheard of. So, people are looking and people want the work. So,
The sooner we can start that with our project too, better will be because dance cards start to fill. Some really good smaller contractors that might be right for this job might get too loaded up. They'd be wise not to take it, so.
I asked this question before, but give me the fresh memory. This has to do with site contractors, excavation contractors. Now, that's some kind of a loophole, you said. They do not have to be pre-qualified.
they are not designated as a division that's
They're
going to
not
be
five
pre-qualified.
That's a big part. That's
That's the majority.
one of our.
It could be the biggest.
expenses.
It was a disaster in Long Meadow for us. The subcontractor was absolutely arrogant and terrible, and whereas the subcontractor in Wilbraham is the best one I've ever worked with, so.
Wishing we had really good site excavation. I mean,
Well, part of the even though they're not, though, that's a sub to the general.
Right.
That is not in the file subject category, but
so it simply comes in on the general.
I don't know why it is.
Schedule of values.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know why it isn't. It seems like it's such an important.
Somebody doesn't paid enough at the state.
Not enough
Doesn't
union.
make it.
Okay, that's the question, so. This, that's the thing about. Can we request to see the general contractors?
So-
Site
site-
excavation.
Oh, yeah, they are,
license,
We
who they're carrying, yeah.
we will find out. When we receive their bids, it would be reckless not to have a firm bid from a site contractor and you
Right,
put that
exactly.
number
We're
in.
gonna have- Yeah,
So we could definitely
we
ask,
probably bid it to 5 or 6 guys.
but in,
Like that.
and I bet most of the GCs will be asking a lot of the same 5 or 6 guys for
Yeah,
that
right.
price.
generally in this area.
They're the best.
They work at the.
In my opinion, receiving a low bid, we would not be able to disqualify that low bid if they're already a pre-qualified general contractor
I mean,
for who they're bringing for site. But once under contract, we can put the screws to them to figure out exactly who's going to be performing this work.
Yeah, in fact, sometimes the generals are
they can do it on
they're
their own.
suspicious of they will bond that. Which that doesn't help us, but it protects him. I think what happened in Long Meadow, that contractor within the next project number. And fortunately that cleans it out. But they can show up again. Yeah, those are all pitfalls that we run into. The public bid process in Massachusetts is unique. Well, we build jobs around the country. We don't have this file separate.
It kind of took us out the drawings, that was good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
All right.
okay.
So does everyone want to just, Dan, you'll send out the link to everybody and then everyone can take some time to look it over. Brian, do you want to talk about the process for providing comments
Yes,
on this?
yes. So
Very helpful.
what Matt has generated is a template, what we use. So currently the DD set is in our hands as well, and we're diving through and going through some past experiences, some other change orders on similar projects to make sure that things are being picked up on this. And we have kind of a template that will serve, and I think it will help the design team as well, where if there are any questions, comments, concerns on you guys reviewing these, to send them our way. And we generate this whole matrix on here, and it'll have who generated it, what
Very
date,
helpful.
make sure we got some feedback on it and what the action was. The action I might put a comment on there and the action might be, that's the dumbest question I've ever heard in my life. And we just, okay, well, it's still there and tracked for tracking purposes.
That's
So.
That's the response to.
That's what I often say about Ken.
Not
So-
really.
No,
It's a tool not only to help streamline to John and the consultants, but also
Helpful.
as next milestones come, when our construction documents and our CDs come through, we want to make sure that they're being implemented so that, we have a tracking tool for them rather than just a bunch of different papers. So
So just to make, so long story short, so this is not set in stone, like.
Oh,
Some of
Pretty
these,
close to it.
I,
DD is,
some little things.
Going
can
into
be
CDs.
modified, Change.
yeah, sure, when you find an issue that, but it's any kind of, the design is pretty much set. Because there's 20 drawings,
Yeah,
multiple drawings, even
Okay.
though it works in Revit, you can make changes that shows up in
Okay.
lots of different places.
so just, okay, so because I mean, I'm not the mechanical and all that.
Right.
One thing I'm privy to, and I'm sure Lynn is too, is like the landscaping. I mean, Could you include equivalents, like with respect to species
It's
used?
got it in its price.
Yeah, I know, but.
And you can go through, we're actually gonna thin it down a bit. We think we were a little heavy handed in that
Yeah, sure.
site plan.
Yeah, so, you know.
But that would
so-
be
You have
good
lots of
comment to
flexibility,
provide,
Right,
yeah.
so.
I can change a bush,
Yeah.
no
so-
problem.
So I think it would be wise to use more native species, right? Native to the backyard with respect to.
Do you have a?
Somebody's gonna give me a list of your local favorite natives.
Yeah, so-
Blueberries, strawberries, black raspberries.
I like loose, I like loose stripe. I think that's great.
With respect to the area that it's.
No, seriously,
No,
yes,
no. With
absolutely.
respect to trees and shrubs and.
Yeah, well, our trees, we have flowering trees.
Yeah,
They're native to America.
yeah.
But
There's
we
something
have some
on.
maples.
And Bonnie, I think that's a great example of a comment.
Yeah, but I would love you to
Yeah.
go through and make your comments about the plantings. That's not a problem.
So do you want each of the committee members to send them directly to you?
It's
No.
Matt and myself.
Yeah. Let them put the matrix together.
Okay,
And you'll
so
keep us up to date.
as you're reading in the next couple of days, send your comments to Vertex. And they're gonna
You can
compile
copy-
them
We can
before.
copy this up. But I want.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah, we'll compile.
But you should copy.
Comments.
Yeah, any communication, please always copy the art.
We can just email them.
Yep, and I would say as well, because I fall into this trap sometimes at the DD level is keep in mind that it's not fully designed yet. So some things that haven't been fully fleshed out yet, you know, that's a comment and it's like, well, that's being picked up in the later set is what's going on. So.
And the interior finishes are specified in here or not? Or-
Basically,
Yeah, it's pretty detailed.
I was gonna make a suggestion to Katie, so. What is the actual size of the committee now? 9, right?
Mm-hmm,
So less than five, under 5 is not a quorum.
correct. 4
I
of
was
you
gonna
can
make
get
a
together.
Suggestion that we break up into groups, you can go over together and go through these pages, and groups of 3. We break up the sections and I'll take you through some of the stuff that it's the unfamiliar to you.
Will be
Want to comment on that. We subsets, so we don't make a corner, but we all get a chance.
But as Brian said, I've already
Oh, you can do it on the
read,
computer, too.
I scripts have read all of it. You'll find that.
Well, sure, but I think it's important
But
for
it's
the
really
committee
important.
To get an idea.
to be
Oh,
able
absolutely.
to know what they're approving on
Yeah.
through and to be able to make sure that, you know, as the transparent agency for the town, that
Yeah.
that everyone's getting a chance to look at them. And again, like you said, many of them may be already taken care of, but
And what's, well, I guess we're gonna go to project schedules next.
no, we still gotta talk about cost.
Us.
Oh,
I know lots of people have looked at it. I've gone through this, I've written the engineer on a number of things, like he's carried alternate number 1 in the base bid and as an alternate. And, he's got,
Depending on public.
yeah, co-reduce. And we only want the generator itself as an alternate, everything else that is in the building, switchgear and all that stuff, and conduit out to the generator pad is in the base bid. Yeah, and she already has it that way, but he carried it. The pickleball fence.
Okay, so you get some clarification.
Yeah.
What you're saying is the 198 might be excessive for
It's higher than it should.
just the actual generator itself.
Yeah, I think he has,
Oh, and all the others.
I think he has a pad in there too. We want patterns like. The pickleball fence, it turns out that the manufacturer that we had on it, and Tico does not make this fence. It's now,
Lattice.
no, it's not right. It's the same, if you want to see it, it's in Long Meadow. Exact same fence.
Same fence.
So
And I think also it's in Belmont too.
So is that price correct then, or is it not correct?
I've written them to say, please clarify that.
Okay.
I think it's a little high.
so the pickleball, so for one pickleball court or is that 2 pickleball
That's
courts?
Two. And going around, all the way around with gates, lockable gates.
Yeah, you should, that's even. He's got, it right. Should say that too.
Yeah, there's two.
And do we know where exactly on site they would be?
Yes,
located
yeah.
Relative to the. Because I thought that initially there was some concern they wouldn't fit.
Well, no, we shifted the site.
We didn't. Yeah, let me
We
just,
slid the site
let
over.
me go back to that first a second.
Yep, yep.
So when we finished with the site drawings that came back to us, we look at the very, it was a very, something like that. The note was put on there by the designer that we needed to move, we needed to widen the site. So I spoke to Dan Scalpers about this because it involved these are something.
We don't own this property over here.
So
And we
we
reflected,
ended up adding, here's the original site, 20 feet to the west and 10 feet to the south. So the plan that's being prepared now by Ross Associates, the A&R plan, to breaking this lot off reflects that increase in the lot.
and that's to lower the building.
previously it was exactly 3 acres, now it's marginally bigger.
Yeah, it was a little over 3.02 or something, maybe 3.5 acres now, something like that.
Yeah, and the reason why we shifted it, because we were having to put a retaining wall on this side of the site because we couldn't grade it out onto Devon's property.
Yeah.
So we shifted it over so that we didn't have to do that. And we lowered the building back down again. It was raised up in order to do that. So now we're back to kind of where we were. It's a better, easier site. There's still a lot of stuff we're moving off the site. As Dan said, we can put it right over there, rather than trucking it. He's got it being trucked far away, wherever.
So the cemetery is on this side?
Yeah.
Right.
So that plan is actually being prepared right now. We're going to find it. It's a new size and I just got off the phone with them last couple of days. They figured off what was here and you see it did bump over the original lot. Because as John explained, this original retaining walls had to do.
Expensive.
It's an adjustment. And just for FYI, the electrical is coming in like this from the slope above.
Okay.
I think that might even be the transformer.
It's a smaller square.
And is it a concern? I know that in some communities, the sound of a pickleball court has created tremendous public comment.
We don't have anybody living next door.
No, I understand, but is the soundproofing on that side of the building adequate to shield from the sound of the pickleball courts or not, or how did that work?
Well,
Soundproof.
it's gonna abut the staff offices and then the handicap parking, right? That would be that side.
Well, the parking is gonna touch
The
it.
building is foam. Sound doesn't transfer through that very well. There's no transfer of hard surfaces from outside. The only source for sound coming in is through the windows, you open them. And if you want, we can put a laminate glass on that side. Just because it kills it.
Like, how twitchy will I be? That's my office. over
I
there.
don't think you will not notice. I mean, how
And if it's
angry,
loud, I'll just call him and let the sound play through the phone for hours on end.
how angry do they get out there?
Oh, listen, if the Blanding Turtles are going to get their beveled granite curbing,
Well, we have 3 indoor courts in Long Meadow, there's not saying
all right,
3 indoor and we have 4 outdoor courts.
okay.
I haven't heard any complaints, but it's a good point.
Electrical plan, so he's just showing this.
And Dan, Ken brought up a really good point. The spoils, that's the way my engineer calls anything that we're moving off site. Not all of it's, a lot of it's loam. I don't see any reason why the town wants to give away their loan and have it taken away. So we're gonna be, Dan confirmed, Dan V confirmed that we can use the site next door. And we may actually have some trucking done by DPW because they don't want some of this material. It's good gravel. And there's a fair amount of excavation.
Is there any precedent for the material that is valuable, the loam or the gravel or whatever, that the subcontractor who does the work would come in at a lower bid if they're able to then take the loam and use it for their.
I tell you a little secret. I know about your town, but I don't know a single town that allows loan to be taken out of town.
But we don't have, we could give a permit for that.
We don't usually allow loan.
What's really happening, I'm gonna comment a little bit beyond that 10-year scale. The DPW have locked the whole place, it's really because they stockpile material right now. Our site has stockpiled lumber right now. That they could just move off the site before we start the project.
That would be
But
helpful.
over the other side, closer to their buildings, they stockpile the. Just, when they mill the roads and they strip the top.
They have to use their cars.
Oh, there's extra stuff that's.
They
They
use it
over
for
there,
stuff
they have
they-
all kinds of stuff over there.
Right.
They have piping over there.
Well, they,
piping.
they use that now a lot.
So we, as we get into this, really need to look closely at some coordination. And there's gravel roads that they travel inside that space, moving material all the time. So-
Yeah, it's gonna be,
So we
yeah.
have an opportunity to save some money there.
yeah, and I've asked my cost estimator to take that into effect. I also noticed that he's carrying PVC trim. We don't use PVC. It's composite trim called True Exterior.
Yeah.
And it comes primed. It will have to be painted, but and I think the hardy panels come pre-finished when we pick.
I was just
color.
looking at that, so it says pre-finished, I don't know if that means pre-primed or not.
No.
Painting scope doesn't have any exterior paint in it.
No,
obviously.
all the
Hardy.
hardy comes pre-finished. There will be painting trim.
Yeah.
And he's carried that as number, but it will show up in that.
Has Catlin got any experience with issues that came up with the hardy siding on Milton in the past? They had an issue years ago,
Oh, yeah, years ago.
defective product.
Not recently.
No,
So
nothing
did
there.
the
No.
Hardy planks are at that Littleton Library across the
Okay.
street from
Yeah.
the senior center. What we did have to do is pay for some painting for touch up on the fasteners that we had up there in certain areas, but
I've been
good
using
product.
it for 20 years.
When I brought it up,
They complained. Certainty had a lot of failure of the paint. They had a lot, and Hardy now also only specifies certain colors in different climates. And
Already is,
They merged with
they,
something else.
they color the cement when they made it.
Yeah. Cement.
Yeah.
Pretty much already board when the last time.
yeah, but I'll tell you a little problem we have in Holyoke. It's very disturbing. The contractor was not great. And they marked up a lot of the boards. Some guy went down to the local paint shop, said match it, and came up.
Okay.
Oh,
And guess what?
The touch up is worse than.
You can see it everywhere. You can see, it's all faded. Wherever he did this. And of course, you don't see it until
mhm.
2 years, 3 years later, you say, who's doing that? So, yeah, we're very careful about making sure that use only a hardy material and as little as possible. We eliminated the baby changing station. We didn't think we needed those. I would prefer not to do them because not only are they expensive, but they get opened up because there's a lot of problems with ADA accessibility. And I don't know how many babies we're bringing in right now. Yeah, I know.
No,
Um,
the problem I have with them is they don't go high enough weight.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
my son's completely disabled, but he weighs 70 pounds and I get nervous putting them on when
Oh, yeah?
I'm aging ones.
oh, yeah.
Because I'm
no.
afraid it's gonna snap.
Yeah. Window treatment, we found that he left out, we have two Type B windows that are out of reach, so they're gonna be powered window shades. Same in, Wilbraham too. I was wrong, I wrote down HVAC bathroom exhaust fans, I remind them there are 6 bathrooms, there are 6 fans, but in reality, they use single roof fan units, and then they link it down so you don't hear them running. And you may, I think, call 2 fans. So I misinformed him. You can get away with 1, but sometimes you might have to oversize some of the outputs. Those are some of the things I found right away in the cost estimate. There are, and then of course, all the add alternates will be rearranged the way we want. And a lot of it is kind of out of everybody's pay grade as to who's going to be our client. They're pretty good at that. And as I think Brian mentioned before, maybe it was Brian Jarvis. This estimate is put in the middle of the road. It's not the highest, it's not the lowest, it's in the middle. And that's what they do with public safety. And my guess is that we should be pretty accurate on this. It might be slightly better, but I want to keep the hopes up because, you know, as you mentioned, there's a lot of interest. And I know one of our bidders from Wilbraham really wants to bid this project. And I told him he has to have a shot.
Who built it?
P&P.
Was it BJ?
Yeah, BJ.
Yeah.
Boy, he had a great site super, really. And BJ filled in a lot.
Yeah, he did the police station in Barry and nice guy, small outfit.
Yeah, small,
So
but
you really
very,
get the owner's attention.
yeah,
So,
he's at almost every meeting.
yeah.
And I remember they did the alarm panels in the entryway, surface mounted. And it was all done, and I said, this is just not surface mounted. Oh, yes, it is. I said, look, there it is. And so they took them on, replaced them. They've been very good. I do want to get the set, and I'd be happy to meet with the building inspector personally too, maybe with the OPM at some appropriate time. I know we had people come in at the start, you know, but I think when we get into, we've not run into any problems with building inspectors, but each one has his, there might be a pet peeve that we're not aware of that we want to make sure we have it covered with. One of the interesting things in Wilbraham, we felt the alarm pole at the top of the monumental stair was too far away from the stairs. And we wanted the contractor to move it, and the building inspector is able to point out that there's a condition allowed to be, and the weapons 6 feet away from them. So that's very helpful. We also we have an area of refuge. I may have mentioned that. So and the second floor in the enclosed 2-hour rated stair. It's an area because the code does not acknowledge handicapped people in 2-story buildings, but we do, because especially in our user group, we want a safe area for somebody with walkers or a wheelchair that needs to be in a safe spot with a communication that goes directly to the front entrance where the fire people come in. They know that there's people out there in that enclosed space to be helped take out of the building. It's not required by code. We put it in every one of our projects. We usually accommodate 2 or 3 wheelchairs and walkers. And there's verbal communication for that. Also, one other thing you'll see, all of our bathrooms and our workout spaces all have emergency pole cords. Every toilet has one. You may not see it in this abstracted every urinal and at the sinks, and then the fitness room, and they're set so that if somebody falls, it's 12 inches off the floor. It's not out of reach. Our bathroom doors all in the stalls all outwards because they open inwards and somebody falls inside, you can't get through. Some of the new bathroom partitions, you can actually lift the door off. I'm not sure whether it is from that area. They're all visit, and they have a release from the outside.
So on
Those are all safety issues.
the total project, this number here, for instance, December 5th number is 15,467.
Yeah, so I have an updated one that reflects this new estimate that we have here with
Yeah,
a
do
few
we
things
wanna
that
move into
we
that
can,
now?
I sure can. Just
Yeah.
to put a button on the estimate, so any changes or comments that we'll have, we'll get feedback from the estimator. But also, we own per contract another estimate in the CD phase, and then that would go through AM Fogarty, but we also own one as well. And so there would be 2 estimates that would be reconciled before we go out to bid to make sure we're really confident in it. So you get 2 third-party estimators in the room, let them talk their estimator speak. We sit in there. It can be a long meeting, but it's good for these types of things to make sure that we're comfortable before going out to bid.
So, but on the 15,4 number, I thought that the number at town meeting or the total project cost that we had was like 15,1 and change.
145.
15,145. And this one is 15,4, so the $20,000 came from or went to, or we don't know.
That's right.
And I can show them the
More
total
updated.
budget, so I'm even higher than that right now, but what I wanted to show is where we think those outliers are to getting back down to where we were at town meeting, to getting back down. So things such as like the pickleball court driver that was up there, that's gonna be an alternate. I assume it's gonna be probably one of the lower alternates that are there when we
Number
take that out.
5.
Um, the site cost, Ken, that you had put in there as well. And I think what if it's okay, I can pass these
Yeah.
out.
Very helpful.
This is kind of still a working budget as we see here. What I tried to do is put this in the format that is also in your packet for the invoice packet. And then I also wanted to print out a piece of paper here that shows, and I think I passed out the schedules as well. Matt, if you want to just yank those out, we can go over it after. So this is kind of a working draft of where we are with our budget. Highlighted is the numbers that we just received from Fogarty. But then I also, to supplement that, is just a piece of paper that I took a snapshot of what we're doing with the town's accounting to kind of show what our funding sources are currently and what we have currently under commitment at this point. What I took out of there was anything that was pending, or anything we're hoping for, or anything that we had as goals at this point. I just wanted to put in solid concrete what we have currently right now. And if I just could continue to talk a little bit more, that bottom line in green, which is the total borrow funds, I have that as the 11.5, which is what per town meeting. But we know that was approved, hoping for better than that. So, but I wanted to at least put the worst cases as we have it there. With that said, bouncing back and forth between the two documents on the funding sources report, we currently right now have 14,971,000. Our current working draft of our total project budget is 16.1. Now, that does not reflect the work that we're going to do on that estimate. It does not reflect anything to do with what Dan had discussed this morning earlier regarding savings on some of the utility costs that we're going to have, but maybe updated for next week as well. And then as we get closer into CDs, we're also going to start putting a finer point on AV and IT, furniture, fixtures, and equipment, rough order of magnitudes, so that we can finalize those numbers as well. So while it shows that we have a bust or a delta here to work towards, what I'm trying to emphasize is on our funding sources, our work isn't done yet when it comes to securing those other grants that we need, as well as potential fundraising activities or things like that, helping to bridge that gap. So while I think the estimate was great, where we did not see a huge uptick in certain divisions and categories, I don't think it does away with the potential of looking for if there's other materials or options that are out there that can potentially save us some of this money.
Okay, so quick comment. The presentation we gave to town meeting, there were the 2 alternates.
Mhm.
So that.
Where are we at?
The one I had, I guess it's 15,165 is what 15,145. But so this is really sort of skewed, right? Putting the pickleball court, the stone veneer water table, and one petition in it that throws it on.
Yeah, those are all
You
alternates.
can't- you just think-
You may get it.
You're just trying to get the whole picture.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's
That's
fair.
correct.
Even though.
Even if we spell all these out on bid day, which I believe we should, I think we want to give the town as much flexibility as possible. I want to show what those costs are currently as it sits.
Yeah, but I think what'll happen is that if because the estimate's in the middle, if it comes in low, you can buy in some of those. We also carry a contingency, which we rarely use much of it. This site should not create a lot of danger. Some sites, they dig down 5 feet and find giant boulders or lead. We've already checked all that. We don't have that problem here. And we would have been aware of it anyhow. So I think what you have here is that if you took all the alternates out, just leave them to the side, because they're all designed, we want the generator one way or the other. But if you take them all out, all the ad alternates can be done at a later date with additional funding. Excuse me.
To your point, Ken, I believe the presentation was, and what the town manager had said is, we're not gonna have a project without a generator and the,
We don't have.
partition.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so if we, yeah, so if you walk the math back though, 16.1 minus the ad alternates we said we likely weren't going to take, even though we're including them in there, brings us to 15.8. And the difference between 14.9 and 15.8 is basically the grants that we are hoping to get. So I guess I'm reiterating the larger point is I don't think we're really far off.
Right.
At all. Yeah.
I'm looking at your.
Yep,
Project total with all design inspection things, definitely 6,848. Virtually the same.
yeah. Now,
We worked
what,
on it.
what I tried getting to, I think I mentioned, when we did the exercise of breaking out site and building costs, there may have been some percentage points that got lost in the shuffle there between escalation and how that was, because that was another way that we were showing it. But I'm more confident in what we handed out today as where this sits, and we can also do that split up accordingly to make sure that those numbers are jiving, but.
Actually, this is very helpful.
I just want to share back. I brought up the book. What's amazing about this testing, first of all, second page is really something. When you take, I took the major categories, which was HVAC, electrical, sprinkler, fan, plumbing. The first time around, which was July 10th, then I added the same exact one. to this. But those big.
In the old days, a couple of years ago, you would have gone way up.
Right.
Because it was all running at like 10%, 12%.
So the Fogarty estimate of January, the one that we have in front of us now, January 23,
Right.
is at 11,549.
Yeah.
And what was his initial one?
Right, yeah. Well, the second one we did was July 10th of 2025.
And what was the total?
11,506,319.
This is
It's virtually that.
$40,000.
Yeah,
There was some
$37.
interior changes here. It makes it.
Redo some of the glass.
Things have to change.
Unless he's still doing square foot costs, or the DD said, but I'm joking.
Hope not.
Well, I'm always shocked to see $888 a square foot when I've been used to living buildings for.
Yeah.
189, 200. And I remember when we do one in Nantucket, way back, it was $1,000 a foot, and we were all shocked. Now today, if you want to build that building, it's pushing 3,000.
So overall, I think that, I tried something different. I took the template that we're using for our invoice packet to kind of give it a little clearer rather than the large color coded that we did. We're still working on it, and it's still a very live document. Matt and I meet on this every week, and so the format and the way it's presented may change slightly with you, but we'll kind of keep updating this and bringing it forward to you when any new information comes into this.
This is very handy. I like it. I've not seen this from any other, so that's a gold star in your.
Put that. In the
I'll bring
minutes.
one next week.
As the invoices start accelerating, are you folks comfortable that your relationship with town accounting and town treasurer is going to be smoothly?
So to continue the accolades, the town and the accounting department has been great, and they wanted to they were firm with wanting to set the process and make sure we know their warrant process when they issue checks. They also are on board with our process of all invoices filtering through us, putting it through that invoice package and making sure that we're able to track commitments, what's been spent, what's left to be spent. And then we reconcile with the accounting department, not myself, my accounting team, on a monthly basis as well, to make sure everyone's numbers jive. So Yes, it's very encouraging what we have. Some towns don't
We'll
have
see
that.
how it works this time.
You will see.
Process.
Yep.
Can we pick up something? We'll go backtrack with Robert, but this is under administration. One of the meetings that Robert Conklin attended with us, at Robert's question, the owner's insurance still at risk. And whether that could be in the non-budget.
Yeah, we acknowledge that the town picked that up, I think.
I don't know what.
I think that means that we pay for it.
Excuse me.
So builder's risk is a policy that's gonna need to be bought by somebody, whether it's
Or
through the
this-
general contractor or through the carrier of the
Trying to
town.
get away from it, it signed right to our project, might be picked up somewhere else. That's what the question.
Understood. I've never had
We're
that
asking.
before.
Yeah,
Always had to pay for it.
yeah, we either, it's best if the town pays for it, but sometimes before the contract, before, I just don't like their contract.
Okay, so.
I know what you're
It's
saying.
just my attempt to get anything I can
Out of it.
cost.
And then somebody else will cover it.
When Robert's meeting with us. It was my understanding that the insurance would be picked up as part of the town's budget.
Because they have an insurance budget in place for
Correct.
the whole time.
Correct.
That's the end.
If
But I don't know the answer.
If
That would be very
manager-
helpful.
town manager can speak with MIA, whoever the insurance carrier is for the town, and they get a builder's risk policy for this project, and they're able to pay for it out of an insurance
Cool.
pool that they have, that's fantastic, and
Yeah.
I'll rearrange
That's-
it.
Can you follow up on that?
Okay.
Oh, Katie, too.
Jesus.
Be really nice to him, buy him a mocha or something. Yeah, what's hot?
So,
Tell them to start the lunch on Fridays.
So permits and approvals, Kevin, I heard you whispering. I want to just bring this up here. So what my accounting team did is, and thank you to Katie for sending us everything that's been spent to date on everything on the grants that have been achieved.
Okay.
There were a lot of things that were even pre-Vertex, we'll say, that were purchased that we're not exactly sure what they were. My accounting dumped them into permits and approvals for right now prior to this. And so we want to capture everything that's been spent to date
Right.
because
Not necessarily that.
that all makes up what we have for our funding sources. That includes Catlin's first feasibility studies that are in there. And
Oh,
we want to
okay.
make sure that we're carrying them somewhere so
Okay.
that we don't get to the end and we reconcile with the town and they say, we're actually already empty. We've already paid for it and we didn't have it accounted for. So
Okay.
Ken, you'll see an overrun in permits and approvals right now, as that's where our accounting put it. But this would also be where Goddard's new proposal is going to go. And we're gonna need to find buckets or, budget transfers in order to accommodate those.
so. So I'm not an accountant.
Me neither.
It's bracketed in red. It's the only number in the whole column that's bracketed.
Yep, because
It's
Negative
overspent.
43 is the
Mhm.
It's the difference between columns I and J.
difference. Okay, got it. Okay, got it.
so if you look to the column to the two to the left,
Yeah,
60.
that
8,000.
that 8,000 is committed because we have the proposal in hand. That has been done since we've been on board. And we had an additional
40 something.
43,000 that had been spent previously through some other authorizations that we wanted to account for.
That's a good point.
Okay, so but then
So.
if that's the,
Okay, got it.
but that's ties back to this,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So then let me know if you need help. on
I
what those
might just
things
say, hey,
are.
what was this again? And you could say, yeah,
Okay.
and we can do a transfer to go from, that's not a permit, that's a missed project cost, or that is actually a
Okay,
part of the survey that we were doing. So,
And
Okay.
the utility number will reduce and that money will become available.
correct,
Sort out somebody,
correct.
once you get a hard number on that.
From a contingency standpoint, this is a relatively low contingency that we see here. I wouldn't advise to go much lower than what we see here.
Very low.
It's 3% as it sits right here. So that's
One of the ways we got to the budget.
correct.
It's better or contingency.
I'm sorry, so which is it, the owners or the construction?
Construction,
It's 3%?
yes.
usually by the time we get to PDs, it does come down a bit. It's coming down a bit early.
It comes down from 5.
I usually carry 5, don't you?
Yeah, so I think we're talking about two different things. That construction contingency is going to remain throughout the entire construction of the product. That's where we're
Yeah.
gonna pull out of any change order.
Yeah.
On our estimate, you're gonna see a contingency, it's called a design contingency. That starts going down as
Yeah.
John finalizes his drawings as we get closer to bid, because that pool makes up for anything that's not detailed in the drawings right now. So the more complete he gets, the lower that design contingency goes. But our construction.
You don't want that to
contingency,
change.
We
If
maintain.
you can increase it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you never, it's public bid, so it's all kinds of stuff. Sometimes, because we're pre-qualifying, we should get pretty decent contractors. But you can get, I had, you two maybe not been around long enough to deal with Shaba. But Shaba was one of my contractors. They're the most dishonest. They're not around, of course, I could kind of align them a little bit. But
This
in
is a
fact,
public meeting, John.
yeah, but they're very, very difficult. The owner would show up with a gun and put it, said, I hope we're not gonna have an argument. I'm not kidding. It was not pleasant. So I would say because the state now has us pre-qualified, we're gonna get some good people, and they will all be solid and upward.
Brian, I can go back and chase the number to see, but I think the UDAG, that UDAG for the feasibility is not correct.
The
Because
87,
the 61. Because, and let me go back and
Sure.
and
Yep.
redo it, but we had 60 in the feasibility study, but there was like 17 left over
yes.
from before. So that number might actually, you see what I'm saying? That if that number was 77 instead of 61, then
Yes.
that changes how much your permit number is over because it's
That might be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, understood.
yeah. So I'll go back and look at some of that earlier.
My last comment would be in the funding sources report where it says spent to date, that does not reflect the invoices we're showing right now. In speaking with Barbara at Town Accounting, the way that these grants are set up, we're going to start sequentially emptying the buckets, so to speak. And so we're now dipping into the UDAG funds, which was the $1 million approved at town meeting. And we'll start drawing that down, keeping in touch with town accounting, so that as we start getting into capital stabilization funds, they have an understanding and can forecast their borrowing schedule for the construction funds. I do not anticipate here we won't have to borrow any funds until we're into construction at this point, because we still have about $3 million left. But we want to be able to set Ayer up correctly with their short-term borrowing and how they're going to forecast this.
Excellent.
Thank you for putting this together. This will
Yeah,
Very helpful,
I
I think.
appreciate this a lot.
So I don't know if it says it at the top, but I've been told, and I want to make sure that this is known as a draft and a living document as well, so.
I put giant letters on it. That's how I wrote it on mine, you're saying. I say the same thing about all those drawings and tell them. Oh, so she's talking to us.
I know, saying move on to the next thing, schedule update.
We got 10 minutes left. So
Yep.
according to the schedule.
Right, I'll pass these out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I brought him.
Oh.
Looks good. Next.
I need to make a print.
That's good. That's why I. That's great.
We can try to make this 2 pages next time.
No, we're elderly. We're very elderly.
Size.
I mean, you can go with.
They do 2 pages, then Mike wants to stop.
Yeah.
Yes. The Gantt makes it look like we know what we're doing though.
I know, it's really impressive.
Can we? Yeah,
And Matt, I think maybe if you want to take this and just go over a couple of the high points that we got maybe for the upcoming couple of months and anything that is ongoing. I know that you have some placeholders in here for boards and associated community stuff, and I know that that's all on. So.
Yeah, one of those areas that we looked at some of the water tasks that fall under the permitting phase, the colored highlights which correspond with NISA, NEPA, and natural heritage. So those dates will correspond with the dollar, subject to the negotiations with bands when we do have to finalize those dates, which then as part of their proposal tasks. But you can see on the column on the left where you're going to gray out things that are completed, bring us up to date rather than currently doing our 100% design development review. And as part of that, we're going to the estimate and looking at like any early value engineering items with the goal of getting to, I think we wanted to target a select board update in mid-February. There's a 17th. So we've added that in there as a milestone that I think will formally complete the design development phase of the project. We have, as I mentioned earlier, the timeline for getting to the planning board and the communities associated with that for the site plan approval.
I'd say you could write out planning board permission on the it's
Okay, you want me to take this and
just you put really on things that are done, right?
okay,
Just that one line on. Because that's about the time. That's right, it matches right there. I did a couple of weeks ago.
okay, great.
And do we need to go to conservation as well?
The only thing that we're gonna have
To be polite.
no, is requiring conservation, but we'll also have preliminary meeting now. When we get to the NISA and the so-called conservation management permits, we have to do 2-for-1 giveaway. So we're gonna have to give to conservation over 6 acres. So we've highlighted where that is and Dan sketching it out for this meeting with NISA. So I checked to see if we needed what level of a formal drawing. And Dan told me that at this point in time, it's just a sketch within the garden for the meeting. So we have 3.5 acres here. We know pretty much where we're going to give them the 6 acres. Just right against the Oxbow land. And just on the other side of the ground road. And we had preliminary meeting with them. That still worked. But that'll be the intent would be not a conservation notice of intent, nothing that needs a permit, only the approval that the town conservation commission is willing to take that other piece of land. And it would satisfy that.
And that land is then held by a private trust that
Or
oversees.
so negotiate, the conservation management always going
So we won't need to do that, right? Okay,
to take on that work, which they do with other pieces they have.
okay.
Does that open the door for them to issue any orders of conditions or anything on our project? No.
If we're not within the Indian buffer zone.
Right.
By intent, or any floodplain, any regulated area.
Right.
As far as conservation is concerned. But we do have a couple meetings with that, maybe a couple of meetings. That will just come along. That's part of the process. It doesn't need, we don't have to go to them formally, but no. To tell them that, they know that, they've already, we've been informed.
So, following the completion of the design development phase, we move into the construction documents phase. Where we take our DD sets here, and that's that way we really mad, and we get it to a level of completion where there's enough detailing that the contract has been bid and bid for. So it's another level of detail to get into, or it finishes the documents to a level that are fully completed and able to be bid. And currently, our target for that is around mid-April.
That's like a lot of it says,
We know the drawings are ready.
it says 316. It's not March. But I'm probably gonna get in. Probably
146.
Very concerned, doesn't say construction documents complete.
47, final document review, 413.
Oh, sorry.
So, yeah, sorry, I wanted to account for the time that, town departments finally review. Address that question. And then, so then, following the completion of the construction documents, we need the bidding phase, where we're putting out to, file sub bids and general contractors for bidding out the work that's contained in the documents. Now, you see sort of by the way that this stacks up that there are some things that are concurrent. One of the precursors to bidding the project would be the pre-qualification of our clearly eligible contractors. And that effort starts so that it lines up with the documents being ready for bid. Is just in advance of that is when we've notified our clearly contractors that they're qualified to bid our project. And so we start that effort will contain our process involves members from the OPM, members from the design team, members from the data engineering. And we'll review their statements of qualifications. They tell us a lot about themselves and their experience on other projects of similar size and complexity. We evaluate whether they have the capacity and the skill to lead the project.
And those are in-person interviews? Or?
No, they submit a statement of qualifications. It's usually a lot of paper.
It's pretty standard.
And, it also does involve reference checks, which is something that we have a dedicated team that does a lot of that legwork.
I get lots of those from the previous projects I get asked, what do you think? Even off the rating.
And so they do need a certain number of positive references in order to pass muster and achieve enough points on their ratings to pass the pre-qualification process. So we're anticipating that will conclude just in advance of us having the project ready to go out to bid with we file a subdivision for it and then the general contracts. And that takes us to,
Just,
go ahead.
there was some discussion amongst the working group that this pre-qualification phase, how that group of people had to be made up, who was going to be on it. And that's going to be a separate piece of work.
Yes, it is.
I think we need to clarify that a little bit with us.
So Mass General Law requires that any public construction in Massachusetts over $10 million needs to be fully pre-qualified. That includes the general contractor, 19 divisions set forth by the Commonwealth. If their division exceeds $25,000 in our estimate, then they need to be pre-qualified for this. Like I said, with Princeton, we got about 130 statements of qualification for across all divisions. A committee needs to be formed, and I think that's on our agenda to vote. You see who this is going to be tonight. There needs to be 3 representatives from the awarding authority, one of which can be your OPM. So I would encourage you to let us be one of those seats, as we're going to do most of the work. And then, and there would be 2 members here from the building committee, and then 1 member from your design. Those are your voting members. Doesn't mean that all of the work has to be done by all 4 of those people. As I'm not going to do all of the share, we have some procurement help in our department that will do that. But there will be probably 6 to 8 meetings that will be held between that pre-qual committee, milestones hit, reviewing all different types of divisions. Work will be distributed. We try to lessen the burden on the awarding authority for the representatives of the building committee. We try not to get them too technical. We want to look at them from a managerial perspective and have you guys get engaged and be a part of the process, but also not get bogged down, as we all know everyone else has lives. So I think that's where we're going to go tonight, but that's the rule and that's the law that we have to abide by.
And we're going to be getting packages to evaluate from everybody who does types of work that have an asterisk next to them in this estimate. Over each rate of all the file sub.
Yeah, one of the asked.
That's what that is. Those are all the files.
Those are file subdivisions.
Again,
So that's what that convention is. Those are all the different types of work that
They're at the top.
Yep, masonry, plumbing, electrical, all of those steel,
All the usual,
concrete.
no, not steel,
Concrete is not.
no,
Really?
steel is not either,
Nope,
masonry, is-
Miss Metals.
oh yeah, miscellaneous metals.
Yeah.
They all have good lobbyists review. Painting. Elevators, one elevator company bidding. They
Yeah.
always win.
I don't want to
They
take
are
up too much time. The elevator, we either won't get any respondents for pre-qual, or we'll only get one bid at bid day.
They all play
Mass
golf.
general law says we have to go back out to bid. It can be a process when it comes to the elevators. I'm convinced they're all sitting. in a
They all
room
play golf
laughing
together.
about- Yeah, so.
They do. You get it this month, kids.
One guy owns all the companies. These are on a different thing.
Yeah, so any questions on the schedule?
No.
I think we're.
Onward and outward.
Just to finish the thought, construction phase follows the conclusion of bidding. I think.
Ken, just to your point, NEPA and that was permitting is critical to this schedule that we have here. And so I think doing that as much as we can, as fast as we can.
And to that point, we can touch on it more in the grant and fundraising one. Is that what was said at the meeting, the select board meeting the other night was just a slip of the tongue. The requirement for CDBG is that it needs to be bid ready documentation, but the permitting does not have to be completed until after the award is done. So you can't spend any of the money until the permitting is done, but you don't have to have it done in order to apply. So I just wanted to clarify that part.
Thanks for that.
And the critical thing for me for Lisa, you cannot pull a building permit.
Correct.
That's the
They
time.
have to prove it.
You cannot get a building permit on that.
And to be clear, in my opinion of this is you also do not want to be going out to bid and having a stale bid in hand.
Oh, yeah.
And they can't pull a building permit, or we award a contract.
Yeah.
And I have the president of the GC screaming at me saying, every day that goes by, it's gonna cost me money.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm saying.
So just so that you have the awarding of the contract as 6/1/26. And the construction phase begins on the following week. I mean, is it realistic for a construction company to know that we're gonna be able to start the week after we get the?
They mobilize. It's mobilization.
what we would do is upon getting the low bid, we would evaluate that low bid. We would probably have a building committee meeting very shortly after. And we would issue either a notice of intent or a notice of award to that general contractor, knowing that contracts are being gathered. Town council needs to review, signatures need to be reviewed, but there is an intent that we're going to be going so that they know, we would engage with them and say, hey, things are looking good.
Yeah.
So then we would have a kickoff meeting of contract execution. And even if that contract is executed, we still may follow up with a notice to proceed after that. And that's when the clock strikes on that. But sometimes a GC will come to us and say, I'm still getting my ducks in a row. We'd like to start in a couple of weeks. Is that okay? Usually it is. Okay, fine.
Because they buy out a lot of stuff. They give us a bid and then they say we want it. Now they go back and say. We get a little bit better price.
That's what we.
Yeah.
No,
All right. Anything else on this?
Yes, you
schedule?
would know very quickly, if the low bid was responsive, and once you make that determination, that's.
The contract's already in the spec. They just have to sign it. Yeah. It's not negotiable.
All right. Anything else for schedule?
Thank you.
Very helpful.
Yes. Yes, thank you. All right. So in terms of grants and fundraising updates, in the interest of time, I'll go over this pretty quickly. I started compiling. I've worked a little with Ellen, I worked a little with Bonnie, worked a little with friends. That subcommittee has not met yet, but I just wanted to give a high level overview in terms of funding applications in process. I had a meeting today with Pioneer Valley. It's actually PVCC, but with Pioneer Valley, they're like the MRPC in our area, but they do CDBG grants. They're going to work as a consultant with us. They feel like we're in good shape. Lots of documents are online for them to have already looked through. We've done a lot of public outreach and input, so they are really looking at how their proposals were evaluated the previous year compared to what they want to change for this year. So they're feeling good about that. The date was changed for the closing to, it was March 1st and now it's April 21st, which gives us
Perfect.
a little bit more breathing room in terms of, that lines up really well with the schedule now in terms of having those bid ready documents in time.
I'm gonna-
hmm?
So I was gonna say we're gonna have to get John informed to some of the steps that maybe they wrote and then get it.
Right. So I'm going to have lots of requests for documents from the team going forward to get that application in. They also changed the maximum award. It was 1.3 million every 2 years, and then it became 850 annually, and now they've changed it to up to 950 annually. So and then we will try to apply the 2 years in a row. That is going to be paid. Their fee, I want to say was, and I'm sorry, I don't have it right in front of me, roughly $15,000. It's going to be paid out of economic development and the senior center's budget. So, in an effort to make sure that all the money stays with the project that it can. Let's see. Any questions about that one?
Yes, the community development block of CDBG.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the other one that's in process is the Community Compact IT grant. I had a meeting on both of these grants today. The maximum award for that one is $200,000. We are going to apply for the IT and AV needs for the large multi-purpose room, for the Zoom room capabilities and cable access, and the AV for that room. It's coming in around $130,000. So the specs are being collected right now, and Robert and I are working on the narrative for that one. And that one closes February 5th, which is coming up. So that would be nice. And then in terms of the things that are under investigation, the fiber grant, we're feeling less optimistic about that one due to the timing of the award and when the work would need to be done, because the Comcast work is going to need to go with the water, and I think it's going to happen too soon for this grant.
But they are putting in
process.
onto it.
So if there may be provisions in the ground for that.
Yeah,
Okay, so if there's any type of grant availability for
Could be done
pulling
later.
said wire.
Gotcha.
that's Already
Okay.
for something in the
Yeah.
ground, there may be.
yeah,
Something.
we'll have a conduit available if there's any money.
Okay. All right. And then I just started talking to Main Street America about the T-Mobile Hometown Grant. So that's a quarterly grant up to $50,000, but it has a focus on community spaces, and several of the approved projects have to do with furniture for community spaces or like gathering in park areas. So I was hoping we could get some specs for the cafe and lounge area furniture that
We could lift it from another job.
Right, yeah.
That's a draft,
the draft, yeah.
Brian says.
Yeah. So, but because that one has to be completed and open to the public within 12 months, we're going to have to wait until the end of the year to apply for that one. And then the Mass Cultural Council Facilities Grant, we missed the deadline for this year because we didn't have an appropriate community partner. So I want to work on that again for next fall for that one. And then I am declaring the housing choice one closed at this point for the water line.
Good.
And then the Friends met earlier this week, and they have, I believe we were at like 62,000. They haven't done a lot. They've been sort of mobilizing in the last couple of months, but they did get another $1,000 pledge. And they're building some cash reserves. They're going to go do some training on February 11th. And so hoping to get started, into the spring. So
I think once construction starts, if we want to have a meeting with them too about if there's requirements on how that money is allocated,
right.
are they buying things? Are we buying things and being reimbursed, or is there?
I think the idea would be that they would be transferring that money into the town. I don't think that organization has the capacity for that.
And then I would also assume there would be some recognition that would come with that. So we would need to make sure we had budgeted for whoever the general contractor uses for their sign vendor.
Mhm.
Usually I pull them into a meeting and say, hey, we
Right.
might actually have some more work for you to do some dedication stuff.
Also, you'll find that funding improves terrifically after construction.
Yes.
So do we have budgeted a sign that says future home of the, that you put
That
on
would
the
be
fence in
awesome.
front of it?
Yeah.
Can't offer to pay for that.
Future.
We have a project sign though, I would think, right?
Yes, that we
It's in
do.
there.
Yeah.
And we
We have
can,
money.
but
Is it
really,
really?
the GC does that.
Correct. It can,
Yeah.
but future.
So we have and I have a vendor that usually is very competitive. I usually give it to the GC.
Yep. And I would say is you would approach the general contractor, if there's something to put up on the fence, we get. Usually it's not advertisement, it's more of a get excited type.
You should see the size of the architects.
With that one, yeah.
Doesn't the GC on the side too, specs?
Yeah, no, he does. It's project size. It's big. It's about 3.5 feet by 6 feet or something. It's in full color. And it has the committee on it and it has Robert on it.
Grants and all that shit.
Well, generally, we don't do the grants. Don't have room for that. No, you gotta do public meeting,
As long as we get to see the proof of the sign,
Yeah.
because some contractors in Milton, we had, everything was spelled.
Oh,
out.
nothing.
It's-
Oh, no, really?
It was up on the side.
We actually-
Spent for
we
a
actually-
week and we found out.
We created for him.
Yeah.
It'll be in the drawings.
Ellen, did you have anything you wanted to add in terms of the grants and fundraising notes?
Not that, I mean, we're preparing for the training with the people in Wilbraham, and we're gonna do a tour of that center. And he's gonna go over, materials that need to be printed and how you go about approaching different people and how you acknowledge gifts and things like that. So I think it'll be very helpful.
He was very successful too at raising money.
Yeah,
And
he
he
raised almost $1 million. Yeah.
And he learned it from Mary Beth Bergeron over in Longmeadow, so
Great.
he passed along
Love it.
this knowledge.
Great.
Okay. Thanks, Ellen. That brings us to subcommittee updates. So I did hear already from Ellen, Bonnie, and possibly Linda about being on the grant and fundraising committee. And Dave, you said you wanted to be on FF&E, and Dennis, you said prequels. So can we get a second member onto that?
Recall?
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Okay.
I did FF and then also.
Oh, thank you for that.
Again, that would be just for voting members. If other people are so inclined and would love to explore qualifications, they're more than welcome.
They come stacked about this high.
But as we've seen in previous projects, we've got a protest on pre-qualification one time, so making sure that we hit the statutes that are set forth in MGL. Documenting our votes, just making sure we have the correct committee, how we're going through the process. It gets boring, but that needs to be in place and in the file in case someone comes knocking for it, so. Yeah.
They do come.
So we're good. Must have good. Vertex will have a representative and John will need a representative.
Dan's gonna do it.
Dan, sorry.
Is he still
Does he know
there?
it yet?
No.
Sure he does. He's
What is
he's listening.
For
It's all-
for FF&E, I go to the Neshoba Valley Fitness. Well, anyway, I approached one of the fitness trainers there who I see in there frequently doing private sessions with many senior citizens, as it turns out. But anyway, he said that he would be interested, or he would be happy to kind of make some recommendations as to what kind, for the fitness center, what kind of equipment would be most beneficial in terms of benches, weights, treadmills.
Hopefully not too many benches. We do a lot of that. We've done more than 15 or 20 fitness centers, and we usually we have a really good consultant, but he likes to bid on it. It's going to be a FF&E bid or pricing. Sci-fi, all these different outfits are really good. I'd love to hear his recommendations, and they'll compare it to what we've done. I suspect they're very similar.
We might not need Gronk Fitness for
No,
this year.
no. And he
I feel like every fire station we do, they have Gronk is in there with us, specking them all out. His older brother, he does all the fitness stuff.
Pumping 250 pounds.
Yeah. He gets the firefighters all wound up with all the nice equipment.
Okay, so
No, this is a fundamentally different approach to.
Yeah, for me, it's all about fall prevention on entry and
Also,
exit from the machines.
as a little aside, and I'll bring it up again, I highly recommend it's you don't choose your weights. It's a it has it's a pump system.
Pneumatic.
Yeah,
The pneumatic weights, the ones that will adjust as you use air pressure.
You cannot overdo it. And every time as you're working out, you get stronger and stronger, and you can do more, but it doesn't let you screw your system up. And that's very important for elders, because we forget, oh, I thought I was pumping 150 pounds, but it was really 50 pounds, and that where you get really hurt. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the company.
Well, and I think that brings us back to Vertex for the vendor invoice package, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yes. So, very quickly, this was done, last week. You should have had a copy sent to you. We also sent this to town accounting. We went through this as this being our first invoice packet, with Barbara in town accounting. You'll see something similar in our project status report, which is kind of a breakdown on where all the budgeted line items are. That will be adjusted as our months move on, when we get further estimates, when we get different quotes for certain FF&E. This also will help town accounting understand where we are with our funding sources. And as you can see on the front page, we'll have Vertex's signature on it, and we'll give you your new commitments and budget transfers. But on the second page, on the inside of the first, is a breakdown of what we're recommending for payment here. And then all of the invoices will be supplemented as backup as part of it. For this first VIP, there are some previously paid invoices that we are trying to catch up to make sure that we're showing that the commitments are correct. So you'll see 5 Catlin previous invoices that date back to May, because we didn't have record of those. So we wanted to make sure we were including them, but we're not recommending a new check to be cut. We don't want John to get
Why not?
money here.
Yeah.
And then we have some other previously paid invoices that were processed that, as we knew it, we talked with the accounting. We know that the election funds were paid already. However, we were told that they were to be taken out of our project. And so we're kind of designating them as previously paid by the town, but we're showing them committed now to the project. Town accounting will now be doing some transfer of funds coming from our project to theirs, but we're accounting for it here. The last lines are just the invoices this month we're recommending for payment, which would be for Vertex, Catlin Architecture, as well as the Mass DOT permit fee that Dan had asked for. It's a $1,500 permit that needs to be cut. Spoke with town accounting. They don't need much more than just a backup that we provided, which is an email from Dan saying we need a check. And so we wanted to put that forth for the committee to make sure that we can get that approval so that they're ready to cut that check to Mass DOT once approved.
What's Lazy Mary?
That was the election work.
Yeah, the election workers.
You guys bought a lot of pizza.
Uh,
I couldn't figure out Lazy Mary.
They need a rotary.
Yeah. Okay.
I think those are the election signs. Those are all expenses for the election. Yep.
So we scrutinize everything that comes in from I didn't give what was told to us that we needed to pay from the town much scrutiny. I didn't, and so we just kind of put those in as, yeah, okay, once we were dictated to.
Can we make a motion?
Yeah, I think
What's the
three separate motions. One for,
I think what we would be recommending here would just be the approval of the invoices recommended for payment. I apologize, we do not have a sub, we don't have a sub line on what that is. I'll do it for you quickly.
155.
What is it?
155.
Oh, that's the whole. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, you're right. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
So it is the bottom line.
so would be approved in total or three different approvals for each?
No,
I think just in my experience in other projects, you can vote to approve the invoice packet as submitted.
So, I make a motion that we approve the invoice packet submitted on January 29th, 2025, and 2026, and the total amount of 155,456.
Any discussion? No, okay, then Ken, how do you vote?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Dave?
Aye.
Bonnie?
Aye.
Dennis?
Aye.
Ellen?
I,
The chair says aye. Great, everybody gets paid.
So we were also given the warrant schedule and payment schedule from Barbara.
Mhm.
And just keeping that in mind when we schedule our next building committee, we're looking at that as well, just to make sure timing those
Right.
in the future when we get into construction, when there's going to be hard dates on when a contractor is due to be paid by the town. We will probably look at our building committee schedule to make sure that we're lining up properly with those checks being paid. It won't be an issue, but I just don't want to get in a habit where if a contractor's not getting paid for 45 days and they keep complaining about it, that, you know, the work gets done a lot better when payment schedules are.
Yeah,
regular.
in
So,
fact, once in a while, you'll run into a complication either because of weather or some holiday. Sometimes, and we'll have to check with the town, and I think maybe Brian could do that. They'll call in the selectmen Sunday morning because there was not going to be a meeting, for whatever reason. So that contractor, like Brian says, contractors work really well when they're well greased.
Yeah, we just, as a resident of the town, I want to avoid a situation where we are asking for an emergency meeting as a select board to approve.
It only happens when there's a.
No, I understand, but just to be, speaking as a member of the public.
Yeah.
I think government functions best when
Yeah.
they're getting the information necessary to, in an orderly fashion, allocate taxpayer funds to what they're allocated for. And if we're running into, they need to meet on an emergency basis, or this one didn't get included in whatever.
Actually,
I mean, we want to work real hard to avoid
in the
that.
towns we work with, they don't meet on an emergency basis. They just come in and each person.
So what we do to avoid that is we'll require the contractor to get us what we call a pencil invoice.
Yeah.
Last week of the month, we do our review. I want that done, signed, notarized, executed by John. And on back to our desk, first, second week of the month. Our packets get put together, so we have ourselves a little bit of a buffer there, give some time in
And-
3 weeks to get this.
And we'll have a discussion with the OPM as to whether contractors like to get a little bit more money and they probably have earned on the job. They're only allowed they're only allowed to put in a payment request for work that's done at the time of the
Input.
submittal
Yeah.
period. And we run into that a lot, and we usually get it corrected, and the contractor will understand. Like they say, foundations are 100%, but they're not. Or 60%. So that'll all get worked out. Can I go home now?
Wonderful. Okay, so there's no one here from the public anymore, so no public input. Our next meeting. When do we want to meet? Oh, again, next.
I'm leaving for Texas the 12th. I'm not coming back till the 23rd.
Oh, nice.
We're in Texas.
Yes, I don't know. I just get on the plane and go. Wherever the wife and the kid decided we're going. I think we're going to see Chip and Joanna Gaines and the
Waco?
Riverwalk. Waco and.
Oh, the river's San Antonio. I spent 5 years. The Riverwalk is fabulous.
Yeah, I did Fort Sam Houston for 3 weeks, the Army training, so.
So next meeting,
Okay,
what would be
Thursday, if he's gone 3 weeks.
19th?
I think we'll be
Okay.
okay. I think we'll.
okay.
February.
Yeah, we can figure that out. Okay.
I would take a charge in the way.
I'm sorry, did you have it on?
But I don't know if I.
Did you have it on here already, Matt? And I didn't.
You love San Antonio.
It's nice 5%. I don't know if it's gonna be, hopefully they don't have cold.
It's freezing right now.
No, that's what I saw.
Did you propose a date?
The river?
Did you propose a date?
I just mentioned.
February 19th.
Is the 19th.
Oh,
Wanted to-
but yes, okay. Yeah, so February,
19th. I got it down.
4:30.
I think 4:30 work. Yeah,
Got it, perfect.
That does like.
I get home before midnight, that's it.
It doesn't affect me, but every meeting I'm doing in February now, people have to look and see if it's school vacation week. I don't know if that is or not.
it
So,
is, yes.
okay, I don't know if that's gonna throw much more with anybody, so.
Takes the kids skiing.
They're in daycare, they're going full time. There's no vacation for them.
What age?
The 4 and 2.
Oh, that's the age of my great
You gotta get
grandchildren.
them.
Oh, they are.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they are.
Oh, what a great age.
Yeah, yeah.
There is a-
Horrible seasons during the day, it's great.
I don't see any dark rings under your eyes.
Yeah.
Trying to put it in
Wearing makeup.
Yeah, yeah. My goodness gracious, congratulations.
Thank you.
And that'll be great because then if we do a like board update on the 17th, then we'll be able to
Good idea.
go for that on the 19th. All right, wonderful. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Welcome to adjourn.
I like the work.
Is that a second? Okay. All right. All in favor, Ken, Linda,
Aye.
Dave, Bonnie, Dennis,
Hi.
Ellen,
Aye.
Chair says aye. We are adjourned at 6:37 PM.
Not too bad.
All right.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone.